Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it.
Hello, welcome to another episode. Hope you guys are all doing super well. I'm in such a good mood. I feel like it's a day where I'm going to record about 3 or 4 episodes, but I have some things that I need to get off my chest. And it's all about how your career can be compared to social media. So let's just dive in. The reason this episode has even come about is because after doing my interview on the Savvy Wallet and some of the clips going a little bit viral on Instagram, and then people looking back at some of my old videos, some of my new videos, and commenting, I saw people in the comments coming for me for some of the things I said. And a couple of the things were, there's no way that in the corporate world, they could be paying people different salaries to do the same job. Also, you can't negotiate annual leave or paid time off for all my American listeners, because so many people were like, what's annual leave? So all my American clients, all my American listeners, I'm talking about PTO. But yeah, people were saying you can't negotiate because it's set and it's standard across the board. If you work at a corporate company, everyone gets the same. Because if they didn't, there would be uproar. Well, guess what? I'm going to need all of you to have some uproar. I am convinced the same people that said that there is no way these things could happen in corporate are the people that believe everything they see on social media. And I don't care, argue with a wall, because there are people still in this world that believe everything they see on Instagram, everything they see on TikTok, everything they hear. They believe everything. They're the people that believe that these things don't happen in corporate. I'm convinced of it. They have to be. So all those people that are commenting, if any of you are listening, I believe that you believe that everything you see on Instagram is real. I'm going to now break down why everything you think is real in your career is absolutely not. Why all the rules that you think are enforced are not. Why everything you think you have to do, you don't. If you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you already know I don't play when it comes to letting you know what really goes on. Also, I'm about to do an episode where I break down the secrets of a recruiter. Yes, I'm going to do that episode. That's going to be in the future. But for now, let's break some real career myths that some of you think aren't happening in the corporate world that are absolutely happening every day, right under your nose, and you haven't even realized it. People are negotiating annual leave in corporate settings. End of, you cannot argue with me because I'm one of them. Also, if you go back and listen to some of my previous episodes where I've had guests on, those guests have spoken about this. Those guests have been people that have found out that people like me had negotiated annual leave. Also, let me break down for you how people are negotiating their hours, their annual leave, all of it in corporate. Sometimes people are signing NDAs. Some of us have signed non-disclosure agreements. So we can't discuss what we've agreed separately with our boss. We can't let you know. I've also worked in human resources. I've seen people's salaries and annual leave. I know what's going on. I know that there are people in the same department with different annual leaves. I know that the majority, and this is what sometimes people have to think about context, the majority of people have the same amount of annual leave. And if your company has one of those policies where you get like an extra day or an extra 2 days for like however many years of service, then yes, there'll be people on different ones, like if they've been in the job longer. But there are also a handful of people that started at the same time as you that are getting more annual leave. And you are potentially not noticing because if they have signed an NDA, they might be the person who's like, oh, I'm having to take some unpaid leave next week. So you all think they're on unpaid leave. Whole time they got paid. Because unless you're in someone's payslip and unless you're in their bank account, You don't know except for what they tell you. And if we've gotten to the point where we believe everything we are told and everything we hear, I'm here to tell you people lie. That's the world we live in. People will show you something on social media that they're living this beautiful life. Whole time they've got nothing. Whole time they're living in someone's basement. Whole time they're sleeping on people's sofas. Have you ever wondered these people saying they're making millions? Like, you've never seen them on a plane. You've never seen them out of the country. You've never seen them anywhere. But they're making all this money. They're doing all these great things. Believe half of what you hear and 30% of what you see. Maybe even less. Believe 10% of what you hear. I don't know, guys. I'm just saying. From someone who's been in corporate, people sign NDAs. Sometimes people don't sign NDAs and they're just asked not to discuss it. It's the same with salary. But we will get to the salary thing, because for you, those of you that really think that people in the same job are getting paid the same money, like someone commented and they were like, if you're a teacher, doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, if you both teach English, for instance, or you both teach PE, you're on the same salary. I beg to differ, but we will speak about that in a minute. As far as negotiating, not everyone will be able to negotiate. That's the truth. Not everyone is going to be able to negotiate annual leave. Not every company is going to let you negotiate annual leave. But there are plenty of corporate companies that is happening in every day. People are coming to interviews and saying, at my last corporate job, I was getting 35 days annual leave plus 8 bank holidays. Because, here in the UK, we get the 8 bank holidays as well. And the company's saying, okay, if we can match that, will you come here? They're saying absolutely. And then there's you who got the standard 28 days and 8 of those were the bank holidays. So how are you going to tell me that it's not happening when I've been in the interview? I've been the interviewer. I've been the person who's agreed it. I've also been on the other side and the person who said, oh, I was getting 33 in my last place plus the 8 bank holidays. So can we discuss that? And then I've had them come back to me and say, well, if we give you that, then the salary you're asking for, we're going to need to negotiate. I factor that all in as well when I negotiate, guys. So when I tell you guys to ask for more money than you want, that's the reason. Because when I've asked for more money than I want, so I've asked for 70K, but I only actually wanted 60. And then I've said I want the 33 days annual leave plus my 8 bank holidays. And they've said, oh, if we give you that, then your salary is going to have to go down to 65. And then I'm like, oh, okay, let me think about it. I'll take the 65 because I only wanted 60 anyway. Let's think about how you negotiate. The reason I tell you guys to plan is because this is how you negotiate. When you know what you want and you have your plan ahead of time, when these things are thrown at you, all these curveballs, you can maneuver accordingly. You can move left, move right, move down, move up, but you can end up where you want to be. And this is over time. I haven't always known these things. I have learnt these things and I have been exposed to these things. And that's why I understand them. But people who do not believe that you can negotiate annual leave, you're the same people that believe what's going on in social media and the same people that I'll be smiling in your face while I'm taking my 40 days annual leave and telling you that it's unpaid or whatever I feel like telling you. Or when you're the person who's like, I swear you have so much annual leave, Adele. How? And I'm like, oh no, I just position it right around bank holidays and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, because they're not paying enough attention. Nobody cares that much that actually you've got 10 days more annual leave than them. They've not even noticed because they're not in your business like that. Some people will notice, and it's happened where some people will notice, but it's really rare. There's always ways around things. Companies always have ways around stuff. So please know that. There are people that have been told they cannot share with their co-workers. Some of you sign agreements in your staff handbook that tell you not to discuss salary. Why would they have to put that in the staff handbook or tell you not to discuss salary if everyone's getting the same? If you're in a corporate job and you're all on the same, why do all the corporate handbooks say do not discuss salary? Sometimes you don't know what's going on because you're not in the right rooms. You haven't sat in the HR rooms. You haven't sat at the director's table. You haven't sat on the other side. You haven't been the person who's done the negotiation. So you will tell other people it's not possible. Unless you've got a crystal ball when you know something's not possible. And if you have got a crystal ball, please tell me the lottery numbers. If you don't know something, don't speak on it. Be really careful because you will stand on a hill and you will die on a hill and be totally wrong. Something my mum always used to say, do not be wrong and strong. Be careful. If I'm talking about something, it's because I've experienced it. It's because I've seen it. It's because I know it happens. I will never tell you, no, this can't be possible when I've seen it with my own eyes. And even if I haven't seen it, I'm going to say, I don't know, because how do I know? How do you know what's possible and what's not? Let's get into these salaries anyway, because I don't want to keep waffling on, guys. Salaries, people get different salaries all the time, especially in corporate. Corporate is notorious for paying people different salaries. Otherwise, the gender pay gap wouldn't exist. Let's just start there. The gender pay gap wouldn't exist if corporate was not notorious, if the world was not notorious for paying men and women different money for doing the exact same role. There would be no such thing as the gender pay gap. Let's be real. There will be men doing the exact same job as us, in the same team as us, getting paid more. There will be women in the same team as us getting paid more than other women. And let me break it down for you. I remember being in a job years ago where I was interviewing. So I was the hiring manager along with another hiring manager. We both had to make the decision. We had people on our team already on a certain type of salary. This person came in, they interviewed really well, a man, and they were asking for almost 10K more than everyone in that team was on. And my colleague was very much like, no, but he's really good. I've heard about him from someone else. He was recommended to us. And also, look how well he interviewed. He knows his stuff. And I was like, nah, he's a good blagger. He's good at talking the talk, but we don't know if he's even going to walk the walk. How are we just going to give this person 10K? Let's just say in the end of that conversation, that person ended up coming in on 7K more than everyone else. And they were absolutely shockingly rubbish. But for 2 months, they got that extra 7K. Then we had a conversation with that person and then they ended up giving their notice. It was a mutual separation. But guess what? They don't care that they ended up leaving because they're going to go somewhere else, do the exact same thing and negotiate more money again. Happens all the time. There are people currently sitting in teams and there could be 3 of you on a team and someone's getting paid more. Why? Because they negotiated an interview. And for those of you saying, oh, but the salary is the same for everyone. No, it isn't. The job advert tells you that it isn't. How often do job adverts say paying between 40 and 50K depending on qualifications and experience? Or it doesn't even put a salary and it just says depends on qualifications and experience. Guess what? It doesn't depend on qualification and experience. It depends on how well you negotiate. I've had 2 people on my team before, one getting £15 an hour and one getting £13 an hour. The £13 an hour person was actually ended up being better quality worker than the £15 an hour. But the person who was on 13, that's what they asked for at interview. Now, if you are happy with what you negotiated, someone else being paid more shouldn't be an issue. But that's a different conversation. Like if I know I want 80K and they give me 80K and then I find out that my colleague's on 90, I shouldn't really be upset because I wanted 80K and I was happy with it until I found out what someone else was on. But that's a different conversation. The conversation at hand is that there are people currently working in the same team on different money because some people are really good at negotiating. Some people are excellent at interviews. So they got the gift of the gab. They know how to blag so they can talk their way into the bigger salaries. I've literally interviewed other people on this podcast who have spoken about this. Go back and listen to the episode where I interviewed Charmaine, and it wasn't really an interview. It was like 2 girls talking. Loved it. Go back and listen to that. Go and listen to some of the interviews I've done with other people where we talk about it happening. I personally have experienced it. I've told you guys. When I found out that I was training like 3 other people, they were all on 15K more than me. 15K, but I was training them. And when I asked for 5K more, yes, I only asked for 5K more, I was told no, my qualifications and experience, like the experience I had wasn't good enough. The qualification I had wasn't good enough. But my qualifications and experience were good enough for me to train the other people. Cool, then I'm out the door because I don't need to train these people no more. Then suddenly, I was offered 10K more than I was on. I didn't take it, I left. But that's just to show you that even me, these things have happened to me. If they hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't know them to be true. If I hadn't interviewed people, I wouldn't know them to be true. If I hadn't worked in HR, I wouldn't know them to be true. If I hadn't been a recruiter for all these years and seen it with my own eyes, seen the paper, I have had to run payroll in some of my jobs. I see what everyone gets paid. I can't say nothing about it. I can't come and say to you, do you know what? Thingy's on like 20K more than you. I can't do that. Why? I'm in HR. It's called confidentiality, guys. So even now when I talk about it, I'm not saying specifics, I'm not saying where, I'm not saying who, I'm not saying how. I'm not saying whether it was in employment or when I was working as a consultant for companies. What I am saying is that I seen it. I know it happens. So anyone who doesn't think it happens, head out of the sand. You're the people that are on the band that you think everyone else is on, and then there's the other people in your department that's getting paid more. This is why they tell you do not discuss salary. This is why salaries are not on the job advert. Why? Then they can get away with paying whatever they want. This is why it says dependent on qualifications and experience. And then you will find out that you and someone else have the same qualifications, same experience, yet they're on 10K more. Why? Why? I follow a great creator called Chris Donnelly. I'm sure that's his surname. If I've said it wrong, I apologize, but he's amazing. And he talks about this stuff all the time. People write into him about these issues and what they did about it because this happens all the time. People find out, oh, I just found out my colleague's earning 7K more than me. How's that? People will say, oh, but in certain jobs, there's a band. Like you can only be within the band, like teaching industry. I literally helped a teacher jump 2 bands. She's in the same role. It's because they didn't want to lose her. And that's where we can move to the next thing. In order to negotiate more, companies have to want you. They have to think you're good. Either at interview or they have to know you're good because you already work for them. And you're like, I want X, Y, Z, and they don't want to lose you, so they're going to give it to you. Everyone can't negotiate everything. Being in HR, I've seen a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Being a consultant, I've seen a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Companies are going to do what they need to do to have the best talent and get the best staff. And if you already work for a company, being able to negotiate more becomes easier if you are great at what you do. In one of my old episodes, I spoke about how the rules you've been following may just be the wrong rules. This is one of those situations. Because social media, the company you work for, they show you what they want to show you. They tell you what they want to tell you. But if you read between the lines, the truth will always show itself. Someone telling you, oh, we pay everyone the same, but then saying don't discuss salary. It don't make no sense. If we're all getting paid the same, why can't we discuss salary? Read between the lines, guys. Everything you hear and see, believe 10% of what your boss says and 60% of what you see. Have discernment, guys. And I'm talking, when I talk about things like this, I'm talking from assistant managers, executives, senior coordinators, VPs, director level. I'm talking all different levels. What you can negotiate at different levels is different. That's important to know as well. At different levels, like at VP level, you can probably negotiate way more than you can as an assistant manager. I'm just going to be real with you. At director level, you can probably negotiate way more than you can as a junior exec. Like, let's be clear, different things you can negotiate different points. However, you can negotiate, and these things are all negotiable. Maybe when I was a recruiter, I could only negotiate a little bit of extra annual leave or salary. But maybe as a VP, maybe as a director, maybe as a consultant, I've negotiated way more than that. Maybe in temporary roles, I've negotiated way more than that. It's all about where you're at. Also, maybe smaller companies versus bigger companies. That's a conversation. Because sometimes what you can negotiate at a small company can be more than what you can negotiate at a bigger company. Because again, big companies do have structures. They do have like, these are the set annual leave that we give to everybody. But guess what? If they really want you, if you interview super well, if you've been recommended, if you've been referred, you might get away with the bigger annual leave request. Years and years ago, I left a job because I couldn't get a pay rise. Not because I had asked for the pay rise. And this is what I mean about being young and new in your career sometimes and not knowing the things that I currently know. They had told us all there is going to be a 2-year pay freeze. So any of you that are currently being trained to be seniors, any of you that are currently on the track to being managers, any of you that have been here for a while and are thinking of asking for a pay rise, don't. The answer will be no. They had a huge meeting. One of our departments was really failing. And because of that, they needed all the other departments to prop them up. So they said, this area has lost this much money. Therefore, no one across the whole company is getting any pay rises. Listen, as soon as I heard that, I was ready to bounce because I'd been there for a while. I was training up to be a senior and I was like, I'm out the door because I'm not about to have the title without the money. You're going to have to pay me. If you can't afford me, that's fine. I love it here, but I'll go somewhere else. And I loved my job. Let's just be clear. I really loved this job. However, I went somewhere else. I got myself a nice little 6K pay rise and was like, I'm out the door. Gave my boss my notice. My boss took me into her office and said, why are you giving your notice? You're doing so well here. I love having you here. And I was like, I want more money. And I know you can't give it to me because of the pay freeze. She sat me down and said, I cannot believe that's why you're leaving. She goes, is there anything else? I said, no. I said, I love it here. She goes, I'm so disappointed. And I was like, why? She was like, I'm disappointed that you wouldn't have come to me. And I said, why would I come to you? You had a whole meeting. She was like, no, but I'm disappointed. Just because we said that, like, if you'd come and had a conversation with me, I definitely could have got you more because you work so well and you do so well. I might not have been able to get you the 6K you're on, but I'd have at least been able to get you like 3 or 4K more. That was the first time I really realized none of these rules apply. None of the things that they're telling us apply. You sat in a meeting days before, a week before, saying, no one, don't come to me. Doesn't matter if you're on this. It doesn't matter. Like, really laid down the law. And then you're sitting in my face saying to me I could have got more. And she said to me, think about it. Like, you could get more. And I was like, oh, but everything's in motion. And the thing is, I could have stayed. And she was going to give me what I wanted. But you know what? I wanted that 6K and I was at the door. Also, I was getting a different title. I was just ready. But I wish I'd known because I probably would have stayed in that job. But I'm not talking about any what ifs, because what if I had stayed in that job? I might not be here where I am now. So your path is your path. But what I'm saying is, had I had the conversation with her, I would have been able to get the pay rise that we were told categorically we cannot get. So, and that was a corporate setting. If you believe that corporate settings are treating us all equally, are doing the same for everyone, you are sadly mistaken. There are definitely corporate companies that are doing that and are treating everyone the same, are being transparent, are being open. And there is the opposite. There is definitely the opposite to what's right and what's wrong. That's the world we live in. If we live in a world where there's good and there's bad, why would you not think the same happens in corporate? So for all the naysayers and the non-believers, keep non-believing. For all the people like me who know that we're going to make our own paths and walk our own way and make our own rules and are ready to create our own lanes, yep. My coaching program's called that for a reason. Create your own lane. Because we're not here for the naysayers. While you're saying, no, it can't be done, we're doing it. While you're saying you can't negotiate annual leave and salaries in banded jobs, we're doing it. While you're saying everyone in corporate gets the same, we're not getting the same. Some of you will have people that are like, oh, I'm a mum, so I work less days of the week. Guess what? Some of them might have negotiated part-time hours, full-time money. Some of the people working 3 or 4 days, you're thinking they're getting prorated money, getting less money. Not everyone is. A lot of them are. And let's be clear, I'm talking about exceptions to the rule. And I want to be an exception. My whole life, I'm choosing to be an exception. I'm not choosing to be the rule. A lot of you are the rule. You're doing everything that they say you need to do. And some of us are the exception. If you're listening to this podcast, I want you to learn to be the exception. I want you to learn to work the 9 to 5 as hard as it works you. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I hope this has helped someone. I hope this has opened someone's eyes. Corporate is no different. Big corporate companies are no different from tiny little companies. Everything's negotiable in life. When you start having that attitude, you'll start seeing more things. Anyway, I'll speak to you on the next episode. It's been a good one.
I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.